This is the Manual Podcast, number 3. Musashi, the sword fighter. He's got a quote, accept everything just the way it is. And he's got an adjacent quote, truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is. And you must bend to its power or live a lie. So we have to accept things. And I like those statements from Musashi. I believe those statements from Musashi. I support those statements from Musashi. And I have spent a decent amount of time backing them up, right? And probably the premier case I have of that was when I talk about Jim Surlsley and Lewis Puller Jr., right? Jim Surlsley, who was wounded in Vietnam, lost both of his legs just below the hip, lost one arm, and he was able to thrive in his life. And the other counterexample is Lewis Puller Jr., who was also severely wounded, lost both of his legs, had severe damage to his hands, but he did not thrive. He struggled with alcohol. He just struggled in a bunch of different categories. And he eventually spiraled down and killed himself. And when we talked to Jim Surlsley, they had been roommates, or not roommates, but they were both in rehab at the same time. And Jim Surlsley had completely followed Musashi's advice and just accepted the situation he was in. And he said that Lewis Puller Jr. didn't quite get there. He didn't quite get there. So we have to accept things. That you have to, and in fact, even from a leadership perspective, like people get in a bad situation and they try and ignore it. They try and act like it's something that it's not. It's like, no, actually, you're losing money, or you're out of money, or your product is failing, or whatever the case may be. And people will just, I don't know if it's that. It's like, no. Actually, this is the situation. You have to accept it. And once you accept it, now we can start doing a good assessment of the true circumstances. You're not going to waste any time fighting things that you can't change, right? It's going to allow you to faster adapt to whatever the situation is. It's going to help you be responsive instead of reactive. It's going to reduce frustration and anxiety, because you get frustrated when you can't change the thing. Mm-hmm. You think it can be changed. You think it's not the thing, and it is. So you have to accept things. And this will also, believe it or not, this will also give you the ability to say good in bad situations. To look at the situation and say, oh, this is a problem. Things didn't go the way I expected. I'm out of money. My employees are leaving. No one likes my product. Good. Now I can make adjustments. Good. Now I don't have to try that same product again. Good. Now I can tighten up my budget, right? It gives you the ability to try and figure out what good is going to come from the situation that you're in. So, as a rule, like Musashi says, you have to accept things the way they are. Just the way they are. Got to accept it. But, and this is, it's so bizarre to have these totally contrary views, right? Mm-hmm. To say you have to accept things, but there are things that you do not have to accept. There are situations that occur where you have to find another way. I think a great example of this is Ernest Shackleton, who was on his ship. The Endurance was crushed by... This is a book that we have never covered on the podcast. And I've always said I would cover it on the podcast, but first I'm going to cover another expedition, which is the Greely expedition, which went to the North Pole, or attempted to go to the North Pole, and they ran into problems, and they were caught in ice, and they completely like did not succeed. And there's reports of cannibalism. They killed each other. Like it was the opposite of Shackleton. Gotcha. You know, Shackleton was this incredible leader, but he did not accept the situation that they were in. Like their ship gets crushed by ice. There's 27 men stranded. They abandon the ship. They take whatever they can. They live on these like ice floes. But then the ice starts to break up, and finally they take the lifeboats. They paddle the lifeboats and sail the lifeboats to this place called Elephant Island. And then Shackleton and five, again, this is all just, I'm not accepting this. I'm not accepting that that we're going to die because our vessel's trapped. We're going to get out and we're going to set up business on these ice floes. Oh, those things are cracking and breaking up and sinking. Cool. We're not going to accept that. We're going to get in these lifeboats. We're going to get somewhere. Oh, we're going to get to this Elephant Island. Once we get to Elephant Island, unoccupied. Oh, what are we going to do there? Die? No. We're going to set up camp. We're going to start working. We're going to start hunting. We're going to make things work. And by the way, eventually Shackleton's going to say, you know what? I'm going to go get us help. And he's going to go 800 miles in a freaking lifeboat. And once he gets to a place called South Georgia, he lands, but there's no one there. So he has to cross this mountainous, unmapped, uncharted terrain and get to an old whaling town, a little whaling station, not even a town, a little whaling station, and convince people that, hey, we need to go rescue these 20 guys are left on this Elephant Island. And he organizes the rescue, and they go and save everybody. And everyone survives. So there's like 14 times when, you know, well, the situation is we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. And he said no. Mm-hmm. So there are times when you are going to be caught off guard. Things are going to occur that you don't expect, that you don't like. You're going to fall short. You're going to hit an obstacle that you didn't expect. That's going to happen. And although Musashi says you got to accept everything just the way it is, sometimes you got to say, no, I don't accept that. And this is something that you pointed out that I do. Mm-hmm. Don't accept it. There are times where you have to say, no, I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to do something different. And then it's very important to be able to take a step back and detach and reassess the situation. Reassess the situation that you're in. And assess the path and assess your goal and assess your resources and find a freaking way. You have to do that. But what's difficult about this in life is you have to be able to discern which is which. That's what you have to do. And in order to do that, you have to get out of procedural memory mode. You have to remove your unconscious habit. You have to take away your behavioral inertia. And you have to go into manual mode. Because you can look at a big obstacle and say, oh, I'll never be able to get over that. Because you've never made it over that obstacle before.
Right.
And you're used to that. And if that's the way you operate, you're not going to make the changes that are required. So you have to switch into manual mode. You have to decide, actively decide what you need to accept because something is truly unchangeable, and you're going to have to change your course. You're going to have to change your being. Or you're going to have to figure out what you need to reject. What things you will not accept. And then you've got to impose your will, or you've got to open your mind, which are, again, these are two opposite things. I'm going to impose my will. I'm going to get through it. Or open my mind and say, wait, how can I get around this? Mm-hmm. How can I avoid this? Mm-hmm. But both those options are there. And if you allow your behavioral inertia just to guide your life, there's going to be things that you're just going to accept, And you're just going to go with what happens. And there's going to be opportunities where you could have rejected things that were occurring in your life, and you don't. You just accept them. And that's not good. That is not good. Sometimes you have to stand up and say, no, I don't freaking accept this thing. It's not happening. Watch this.
Yep. You're that was especially when we actually talked about it, I always felt this. Because remember, the part of the canon, right? One day we were rolling and in jiu-jitsu, we're training, it didn't get heated, but it kind of got heated. And then
you and me?
Yeah.
What's
it was
heated?
A long time ago. They put it this way. There's
good roll.
It was a good roll, and it started to get escalate as far as like intensity, we'll say. And then my knee.
Did you want to fight me?
No, not mentally or emotionally, just kind of a physical
good roll.
Good roll. This is all I like. And my knee hit you in the face, not the kind like like it hit you in the face. So
hard.
Enough. It was hard. Yeah, I felt it on me. So I stopped, you stopped the roll out of courtesy, like, hey, oh shit, are you good? Like, whatever. And and you looked at me like, and you said, what happened? Like, as if you didn't feel it, which I said, like, of course you felt it, but I saw what you were doing. I was like, ooh, that is some cool shit. If I can use this, and it didn't really like gel with me, but I always remembered that. Where I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing, but it's like, bro, you know how useful that is? If you can do that to yourself, and then like later on, like years later, which was more on the recent side of things, where I'll be like, bro, you know who you are? So it was like, now that you're like older, we'll say, for lack of a better term, I said, you don't accept like certain stuff. Like this, okay, so this old idea of being over the hill, that, right? Where it's like, yeah, I'm over the hill, so I'm going to spend less time doing X, Y, Z or whatever, kind of a thing. But a big part of that is just kind of giving up, on yourself, kind of a thing, like accepting like, oh yeah, I can't, I can't work out as often as I could before, whether because I physically gave up, or because like my schedules and my responsibilities are a little bit more, more robust nowadays. So I'm going to give up on this other thing where it's like, no, Brad, you don't have to accept that. You can still do that stuff. If you don't accept that,
Yep.
And if that's like your normal way of doing it, you'd be surprised what you can do.
Yeah. And there's a little, it's like a little psychological trick too.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, you're going to get older.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
But to just accept that without like scrapping,
yeah, bro.
like don't do that, man. Yeah. And you're gonna, you might have something happen in your life, in your world. It's like, maybe it's a battle that you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean you have to accept it. Doesn't mean you have to roll over.
Yeah.
And listen, are there some things in life where, you're going to lose your business because you screwed up and you're in the hole and you're upside down, you owe a bunch of people, and you try and hang on as best you can, right? And at a certain point you go, you know what? This is not working. And you're better off just to walk away. Does that happen? Of course it does. But there's also situations. You ever notice, you ever been in I was rolling with a dude the other day and I had him in a like a cobra choke.
Yeah. Fucking cool.
And I was like stabilized, just fully stabilized. Stabilized.
I understand.
And he ended up tapping, but it was like when he did, and he goes, dude, I was just like, he was just like hanging on, right?
Yeah.
And I almost let go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's just, is he going to tap? I'm wasting strength. I need to improve my position. So that stuff happens where it's like, if I can hold on just a little bit longer, you never know what's going to change.
Yeah.
So, but if you just accept, and same thing, like that guy, if he held on a little bit longer, I might have let go.
Yeah.
Now look, I was stabilized. But you're stabilized. You're like, oh, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, but if he held on, maybe I'm like, now I'm starting to get like, maybe I start to lose position a little, whatever the case may be. So how long can you actually just hold on? Mm-hmm. You ever, there's stories about people in boxing. I think there's one when Muhammad Ali, and I forget who it was. He was saying, hey, cut my gloves off. I'm done. And whoever's corner man is like, no, you're going to keep going. And then the other guy didn't answer the bell.
Yeah, those Hicks, that happened to Hickson too. Remember with Zulu, I think.
Oh, that happened with him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
where he
right.
was like, I can't do it. And then finally got convinced or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy couldn't get up.
So you hold on just a little bit longer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just hold on a little bit longer. They're freaking hurting too. But this is just fighting, man. This is life. And sometimes you just got to not accept these things. Just don't accept them.
Yeah, this is what it seems like the differentiator is between like accepting things the way they are, like Musashi. That's like facts in the moment, you know, like where if it's like, hey, like we're losing money. We lost money again today. That's a fact. So you got to accept that. Don't turn your back to these things like now, but don't accept the future, you know, this potential future. Don't just start accepting the negative parts of it. You see what I'm saying? It's like the course of, or the, what do you call, the path of least resistance, almost kind of a thing where it's like, well, you know, I lifted today. I did, let's say I did shoulder press today and I couldn't get my normal 10 reps. This is what I deal with from time to time. And I only got like 9 and I was kind of struggling. Well, I'm 48 now. So I guess, you know, that's not really for me anymore. You know, it's like I'm over the hill and I just accept it.
No.
You know? Nope.
No.
Look, this is what I'm going to accept. I accepted the fact that I only got 9 today. I'm going to accept that as it is. But I don't accept the fact that that's my fate. See what I'm saying? That's a potential future. So it's like, yeah, if you don't accept the negative potential, you know, downhill potential future or whatever, I feel like that's where you can succeed. That's where you can, change keep the successful trajectory regardless of that painful day.
I think to sum up what you're saying, accept your circumstances, but don't accept your fate.
Exactly right.
So that's what we're doing. You got to be in manual mode to discern those things. You have to be in manual mode to discern those things. You have to consciously think about that. Accept your circumstances. This is where you're at. But don't accept your fate. Fight it. That's all we've got for tonight. And if you want to support, you can go to jockofuel.com, originusa.com, jockostore.com, or echelonfront.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Echo and Jocko. Out.